fucking years.
Right.
I just want to point out the hypocrisy in what is being said here. This is GM's live stream, right? And they're berating this woman who is some kind of relationship coach. I don't know who she is, but she said in the interview that she was only married a year, and she's given advice on marriage. Personally, I mean, these are just my thoughts. Personally, if you've only been married a year, you really don't have the experience to give people marriage coach advice. And the people that do have the experience are some of the elderly people, and they don't do that. But the hypocrisy is, I don't know exactly where it's at, but this is what made me get on here. GM says something about another woman who is, I think, in a relationship with somebody, I don't know her name, and she has 3 children with this man. And she goes on to say something about doing the world a favor by telling this woman to get her married. As far as I know, GM isn't married. I think she's divorced. She's been divorced for many, many years. She's single, and she's raising a son. She's a single mother. But however, she's the queen of single mothers as opposed to any other woman who has a child, and she happens to be a single mother or an unmarried mother. And I think the woman that she's speaking of isn't single. I think she's in a relationship. Stop, girl. She's in a relationship, but she just happens to have 3 children out of a marriage situation. Now, this is the thing. People get married without the state, okay? So people might have marriage ceremonies between them and their spiritual leaders or religious leaders or whoever they are without actually going to the state and getting an actual marriage certificate. So I don't know if this woman that she's speaking of has done that. I do, if I can recall correctly, the woman she's speaking of is in a actual relationship and is actually building something with her partner. Now, let's continue.
6, but in my career, I've worked in my career for 25 fucking years.
Yeah.
So I know kind of what I'm talking about. So when people ask me questions like this, I go,
Right?
You know, I don't get my whole freaking speech destroyed with one simple question.
Right.
Simple question.
Right.
And I don't know who this guy is.
Oh my God.
I just know that he said he was in his 50s. That's it.
Yeah. You could marry a woman from the Philippines and be happy. They're great wives.
Every wife from the Philippines. Every wife from the Philippines isn't a great wife, and every woman that's in America isn't a horrible wife. So let's put that out there first.
Lee isn't an expert. People value her time and her opinion as they should. Yeah, her mods, they're mostly women, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure they all are.
I guess maybe Shane's a dude, but okay.
Okay, so am I. Yeah, it's my decision too.
Yeah.
I just think that you're fooling people into a prospect that's not good for men, for young men these days.
Right.
Do you know that 80% of divorces are initiated by women?
So first of all, that's a reference range, right? All we know is that over 50% of the time.
So let me just say something about this little point of view. Okay. So what he doesn't acknowledge in the fact that when women initiate a divorce, 9 times out of 10, in a very small percentage, the woman she just doesn't want to be married, right? She just absolutely got into it and is like, okay, well, this ain't good for me. This not working for me. So out of that percentage he's speaking of, maybe 5%, possibly 10 at the most of that percentage is women that choose to get out of the marriage just because they just never wanted to be married. However, what he's not speaking of is the women that get out of marriage because of domestic violence or abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. You know, he doesn't talk about women who get out of the marriage because maybe their husband has a drug problem, or maybe he has a gambling problem, and maybe he's withering away all of the money from the marriage, and that their marriage is not sustainable because of his actions. So he doesn't talk about the initiation in those concerns in those situations. Now, I'm not going to be one-sided. There are women who have drug problems. There are women who have gambling problems. There are women who have sex addictions. They have all these things just like the men do, right? But usually the men don't marry women like that. Women have been conditioned to marry men no matter what their problems and issues are. Women have been conditioned to be a nurturer, mother figure in the marriage. They have been conditioned to they've been conditioned to try to hold it out, you know, stick it out, you know, he'll change, you can change him, he'll stop gambling, he'll stop having a sex addiction, he'll stop going to strip clubs, he'll stop going to prostitutes, he'll stop doing drugs, he'll stop doing abusive things, he'll stop gambling, he'll stop doing all these things, right? Or alcoholism, whatever the case may be. And then when these women get into the marriage, they realize that nobody can change that man but that man. He has to be that have that self-autonomy where he realizes he got a problem and that he needs to get it corrected. And if he wants to stay married, he has to correct some things. But women have been conditioned to take men like that. Men have not been conditioned in society to take women with drug problems, alcohol problems, gambling problems, addiction problems. They've not been conditioned to not have a woman like that. The one thing I can say they have been conditioned is women who have spending problems. Men have, I'll give them that. Men have been conditioned to take women who will wither away money when it comes to the marriage and spending issues, like, you know, buying things they don't, you know, they really shouldn't do, like digging into the bank accounts and doing that. So that they do have a conditioning for. Hey, but let me get to the point I wanted to get to.
And for certain that women are filing for divorce. We know
A reference range?
Yeah, she gives a reference range between 65 and 90. So my 80% was right smack dab in the fucking middle. What's your point?
that it's over.
80.
Wait, she doesn't know what an average is?
Understand what math is, lady?
No, I don't think she does.
Averages.
It's not just 80%. It can be as low as 65%. It can be as high as 90%. It's across.
Yeah.
Hamster.
Based on no. Based on the demographic of people. Now, women with a college degree initiate 93% of the fucking divorces. So
Yeah,
I wondered.
The women with the college degrees, the reason why they initiate the divorces is when they do see a problem in the marriage and they actually can make their own money, and they see that, you know, the problem, the man has maybe a sex addiction, he has one of the previous things I spoke on. She is not forced to be with a man like that, okay? Whereas women were forced to be with men, and this is what these men want from this red pill, MGTOW, whatever communities, these passport bros. They want to force women to be in the same type of predicament where they can't support themselves and get out of abusive relationships. So she's sitting here giggling. Ask her why she got divorced. Ask who initiated her divorce. Ask her why she's a single mother. Nobody asks those questions, right? So, like I said, the reason why women who are educated and have careers initiate divorces is when they see that things are not to their best interest or their benefit, they get divorced. Men have been doing this for centuries upon centuries upon centuries, but oh, woe is me when a woman gets educated and she creates a life where she can sustain herself and she chooses to be happy. oh, woe is her. Like, she should never do that. She should never do that. Let's continue.
High as 93%, as low as 65. So 85,
Yeah.
80%, just as a silly little engineer that I am, kind of fits right in the middle of that demographic.